Today I want to talk a little bit about some reasons to consider collecting Liberty Head nickels. Um, some things that kind of attracted me to the series, and it depends on your taste and your preferences, your budget, but these are just some reasons that I started this series. The first was a relative lack of too many varieties to have to complete. You have a lot of different series that have overdates or different dye varieties and things like that that are kind of considered part of the series. But looking at the gray sheet, you see it's pretty much just date, and that's 33 coins overall in the series, which to me is a good number. It's not a really small series, but there's not a lot of you have to go by date, and there's only 2 different mint marks. When you're collecting a set like the Lincoln cent, you're worrying about P, D, and S coins for every single date. So you have just so many coins, and I think it's easier to get kind of burnt out with it. The other thing to me is I really wanted to put together a series of mint state classic coinage, and there are very few sets that you can actually do that in a somewhat affordable manner. I mean, they list pricing here for the whole 33 coin set, and right now they have $12,000 for a set in MS62, and a bulk of that, you have about $2,000 for the 1912S, and then the 1885 and 1886 are several thousand each. So that's about $7,000 for just those 3 coins. But the rest of these here, I mean, look at these prices, and I think this is pretty close to reality. I'd say 62s, you go between 120 and 150 right now. 63s, maybe 150 to 180. So you have a whole range of coins here that you can get for under $200 that are historic and have good design and mint state. Some of the 90s dates become a little more expensive, and there's certainly deals to be had though on some of these. I think right now, I think the 1894 is actually, and 1896 are good values. I've seen these prices seem to be kind of high compared to what I've seen for 1894. So you can really get those between $300 and $400 in mint state in my experience. So a lot of these pricing too, if you find a good auction where there's a nice piece that maybe people aren't bidding on for whatever reason, you can find better deals sometimes. So completability, I guess, and then affordability in this series. And I realize that $12,000 is quite a bit of money to be spending on a series of coins. I think there are ways to do it for cheaper than that. Mint State 62 is a great grade to look for, and I'll kind of share a few examples that I feel like are really nice for the grade. Well struck coins, maybe just have a few extra marks in the fields. But some of these in the 1900s can be bought for $120 or less if you find a good deal. And at shows, you can definitely find nice coins that are well struck. And I think for some reason, there's a lot of 62s out there that I feel like could easily be 63s on a different day. But maybe that grader, for whatever reason, thought there were just a few more marks than that didn't make it to 63 grade. But so affordability on some of these easier dates, and then I've kind of started doing a few dates, AU58, that I felt like were just real close to being low mint state. This is a good example of 1891. That was a lot cheaper than a 62 or 63, but it's still a great example of very close to being mint state coin with all the detail, great luster. And a lot of AU58s out there are much less attractive, but you can find ones like this that are very close to being mint state. This is a 1896, which is a tougher date. So I got this one for about $220, and it lists in the book at 190. So, you know, I paid a little more than the book value, but there's, you know, certainly a nice coin, a nice example of an AU58. And, you know, people talk a lot about inflation and things like that, but this is a pricing from 2005 on an MS60 coin, 205. So to pay 225 for one that's just a couple points lower, you know, 20 years later almost from when this book was made. And there are quite a few examples like that, where pricing, you know, in the early 2000s actually was stronger in some cases, particularly in like Mint State 64, I've noticed. But, you know, there are quite a few nice Mint State 62 coins out there. It's just patience, really, because plenty of them that are in that grade are that grade for a reason, and they're not even really close to being a 63. But as you get more familiar with, like, here's a good one, a good example of this coin. It's got a little muted luster. You kind of see, you know, a little haze maybe to it, but not a lot of contact marks at all. A little dark spot there on the back, but I was $80 for this coin. Definitely a common date, but this 12D, which will set you back a little more, that's a tough date. I got this on Heritage for $430, which is right about in line with Gray Sheet. Gray Sheet's $440 right now. But I mean, this coin to me, you know, you see a little marking here and there in the fields, but it's such a nice coin. It could have easily been a 63 in my opinion on a different day. Yeah, for whatever reason, they just, you know, if there's a few extra marks or a spot or something, they will sometimes have really nice coins in 62 grade. And if you have a bigger budget, I have a few 64s here that are actually really good value compared to historical. Let me take the 1887 as an example there in the middle. A wonderful coin, very close to gem. And this kind of goes at what I was saying with the 62s. You can find 64s that maybe are real close to 65s, and the price difference is significant. You know, some of these dates are going to be more expensive. Like the 1887 Gray Sheet on that one is, let's see, $520. That's exactly what I paid for this one. So that is an expensive amount for sure. But let me look up the price guide from 2005 and see. $64. So that one has gone up a good bit, $360 to $520. So, but occasionally you'll find these where the price guide will say $450 or $5, and you can find them well under, you know, that price now, or at least close. The 12S there, obviously a really significant key date, so that one, you know, but even that coin, let me look up that in the 2005 guide. That coin was 2100, and in 64 they have it listed at 2550. So, you know, if you're looking for a series that has stayed affordable over time, I think that's another reason why I just don't see these coins jumping up in, you know, huge price level year over year, which is really good for collecting. You know, if you're putting together a series that you want to just go up exponentially in value, this probably, you know, isn't that. But for collectability, I mean, this is a great example of a 62 that's just beautiful. Very common date, but uncommon to find in good quality for, you know, under $150. So I think those are the reasons why, you know, just to consider the relative straightforward way to collect by date and just a couple mint marks, and then the overall affordability. Like even in AU58, if you wanted to put together a series of really nice AU58 coins that are so close to being uncirculated, you can do it over time affordably. And even the key dates, I think, you know, there are enough of them out there that dealers want to make good deals. And if you're putting together a series, you can definitely go for AU58 or in the AU range on some of the higher value keys and bring that total cost down. And just cherry picking, I realized too, one other reason I wanted to get into this series is nobody really nobody prices it premium on striking sharpness. So you'll have a coin like this that is so fully struck, and a series like Standing Liberty Quarters, they'll have the full head designation, but this one you easily find. There are plenty of coins out there that are totally flat stars and have very little detail in the corn and striking, and it'll be the same price, so being able to cherry pick the series is kind of important to me. And then I think the last thing, maybe the biggest reason why I started in general, the history of these coins, what the country was going through at the time, and also you just don't see too many V-nickel mint state sets. A lot of people are putting together Mercury dimes or Indian cents or something like that, peace dollars, and I do love those coins, but very rarely do you find a full set of mint state liberties, and I just like that. It kind of has that wow factor when you have a group of them together, as people are used to seeing them very worn out. So those are just some reasons to consider V-nickels, and everyone's going to approach this series differently, but I'd encourage you to just take a look and see if you can pick out the differences in grades between certain coins, and maybe cherry pick a little. It's a lot of fun.